The holidays have a way of stirring up expectations, especially when your kids are grown. You might imagine the door swinging open, everyone excited to dive into traditions, cozy activities, long conversations, and all the things you've been waiting to share or do together. But sometimes what you planned and what actually happens don't line up. As an empty nester, you might find yourself standing at the door practically buzzing, ready to cook the recipes, play the games, go to the events, all the things. And your kids? They walk in, drop their bags, hug you, maybe, and immediately say they're tired, hungry, or they want to go see some friends. What they really need and want while home isn't a full schedule. They want food. They want rest. Home doesn't become the activity center you imagined. It is their recharge station. So today we're talking about letting go loudly, not quietly stuffing down disappointment or pretending expectations don't exist, but acknowledging them, adjusting them, and opening up space for joy, flexibility, and connection in new ways. If you're navigating adult kids coming home for the holidays, or maybe not coming home at all, this episode is for you. So let's dive right in. There is so much to talk about on this topic. Let me ask you, Leah, what has been a big surprise for you with adult kids and the holidays?
Well, Heather, this year we had Thanksgiving, which was great. And I found out on Thanksgiving that my new daughter-in-law is leaving for Florida on the 20th of December. And normally we have our Christmas after the 20th. And so that was kind of a surprise. And so we had to kind of quickly figure out how we're going to navigate this. And she was also very flexible and said, I don't have to be there. If we want to do a gift exchange, I'll have my gift ready and then I can get mine when I come home. So she's going down to Florida to visit her parents who are also celebrating Christmas. So I was a little disappointed at first. And then I thought, you know what? I have to be more flexible. My son just got married this year and I need to become more flexible in the what we plan for our family, because things like this are going to happen all the time. I have 3 more kids to get married. So, things like this are going to happen all the time. I was disappointed, but we'll get through the holidays and we'll just pivot and we'll change our date and we'll go from there.
Well, I love that you can acknowledge what's going on, right? So you can hold the duality. You can be disappointed and flexible at the same time. And I think sometimes we try and stuff things down or pretend like it doesn't bother us. And then one day we're cooking something or doing something and then it kind of comes out or floods us. I know for me, I remember the first year the kids were coming home and I just felt like for some reason I had to replicate their childhood holiday. So I drove myself crazy cleaning the house, baking the cookies, doing all the traditions.
The magical holidays that we all
the reindeer food, like what 25-year-old wants to do that? But I think, I was just so excited to have them home. I wanted everything to be perfect in my eyes. Right. And what they really wanted was that recharge station. It wasn't that they don't love me or respect me, but home is home. Home is that soft place where you can just come and sleep and be fed, and especially
stay in your pajamas all day and lay
especially,
in your bed till 2.
Yeah, if you're coming home, especially from college, and you've just come off of finals.
Yeah,
really, the last thing you want to be doing is getting up at 8 a.m. and going Christmas shopping or baking cookies or.
Yeah.
So that flexibility is important, but it is also important, I think, to acknowledge that you may have expectations and they may not happen.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
I think you're right. And, I think even just the concept of shopping, when I think back at my childhood, when my mom would say, let's go Christmas shopping, it was like, what? And that was at any age until I really became a mom and felt like, ooh, I love to shop.
Yeah.
I could care less about shopping. So yeah, you're right about that, is picking and choosing the battles really, and picking and choosing what your kids want to do with you and what they don't want to do with you.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Letting Go Loudly, the podcast you never knew you needed. We're the hosts, Leah Lanham and Heather Hetchler, 2 midlife women, 2 certified coaches, and 2 friends who finally got tired of living by rules we never agreed to. Around here, quiet compliance is officially canceled. We're letting go loudly, and we're taking you with us. Now back to our show. Let's jump right in and talk about Christmas. What are some of the pivots that you're making in regard to your kids this Christmas or to the holiday in general?
I love the word pivot, Leah. because it just shows that intentionality of acknowledging what you want and then what you end up doing. And what I've learned the hard way, and that's why I think we're here to share it with women, is that, when your kids leave and move out, you're the one that's learning to do life without them, the void. They're moving on to exciting new things. They're going to college. They moved somewhere for a job. They got their apartment. They got married. So they're doing something exciting. They're coming home to celebrate, but it doesn't have to be the way it used to be. And if your kids don't want to do all the traditions, or they don't care what cookies you make, or they don't care about that, it doesn't mean they don't care about you. And it doesn't mean that they don't cherish the memories of Christmas past. And so one thing I learned to do was just to talk to each of my kids and ask them, what do you want? What don't you want? And then I also pick 2 days over the holidays that I want them, 2 days or 2 things I want them to do. Sometimes we go see a play, or we have a cookie night or something like that. And so I know that those 2 times I'm going to get my kids, whoever can come home, we're going to have undivided attention. We're going to have fun. But the rest of the time, whether they're home for 2 or 3 days or 2 or 3 weeks, we have a much more flexible schedule.
Yeah. And I think that's important, especially with friends and other grandparents and, all the things that they want to do when they come home and the people they want to see. It's nice for us to be flexible as parents.
Absolutely. It's actually their break.
Yeah.
It's their break.
Yeah.
And
it's our welcome home. Our kids are here. But yeah, we have to keep in mind that, they need the rest.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And, one thing I learned too is I started to I kind of got the memo the first year. And so I did away with a lot of the traditions. Well, I still had one in college. And afterwards, she told me that, she was sad that I had taken away some of the traditions. And my heart broke. But then I was also so thankful she told me, because I just assumed if the older ones didn't want it, that she didn't want it. But she's like, Mom, everyone else got to do this all those years and I didn't. So guess what? This year, and even though, she's older, she still does like the Christmas pajamas. She likes the little pillowcase I make. So I'm still doing it for her.
You're gonna do it for her. Good.
But the other ones don't want it. And that's
Yeah.
okay too.
Yep.
That's fine.
Yep.
So Leah, what do you think adult children really need when they come home for the holidays?
Well, I'm gonna take, I have kids in different, so I'm gonna go first with my adult son.
Okay.
He's Charlie. He just got married, and so when he comes to my house for the holidays, I know what it's about for him. It's about the food. He likes he likes a good spread of food. So for him, this year he wanted a certain appetizer that I always make. It's the bacon wrapped water chestnuts.
Well, you put a lot of love in that.
Order.
Yeah.
Yeah. He put in his order early. We want 2 batches. So that means 2 pounds of bacon and, all of the maybe 4 cans of the water chestnuts. But he put in his order and that's what he got for Thanksgiving. So that was great. John, when he comes home, he likes a good spread as well. He likes his food. But I think more he likes to see everyone. He has been in the Air Force for the last 7 years. This is really his first holiday. Thanksgiving was to come home in 7 years, because he chose Christmas and he chose some other things over Thanksgiving. So this year was kind of special, and he got to see all of his younger cousins who are now 7 years older.
Yes,
some of them have boyfriends, and I mean that was really special. My daughter, Macy, she works hard. All of them work hard, but she works hard during the week. And I think for her, it was just to veg out and see her sister who was home from college, and they hung out a lot. And yeah, it was just, and then for Jamie, she just wants the rest from college. Like she'll come home for Christmas and she'll want to sleep for probably the first 3 days. And then she'll come out of her shell and want to, go shopping or whatever she likes to do. So yeah.
You know what? That's true, because, you've got 4 kids that you raised and that you love the same, but they're all different and they have different needs.
Yep.
And as you were talking, I was kind of going through my roster of kids and like what they each want or need. And some of them do. They want to come home. They want to just lay on the couch with, one of their favorite blankets that they dig out of the trunk, in the living room, and they just want to sleep.
Yeah.
And they're happy. And that is so, and
they'll sleep in the midst of it all.
Yes.
Like they like to just be among you, and
Yes.
even if they're resting, they want to be in the middle of this.
Absolutely. And that actually
funny.
signals that they feel safe.
Right.
And that they feel comfortable to be able to do that.
Right.
Other kids do. They want the food. They want in fact, my one son now shows up, which I'm very proud of him. He comes with his own Tupperware. So
He gets the leftovers.
that way he doesn't have to return them or have to get them back to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, he comes prepared to bring home the
That's
goods.
perfect.
And other times, sometimes they'll get a text or a call and they, someone's doing something and they want to go. And you've just learned, you know what? You want your house to be a place your kids want to come to.
And friends, too,
Yes.
for that matter. Like, I always liked that also, where they feel comfortable coming, with friends and then leaving and maybe coming back. I like that too.
And I think when you have less expectations or rigid schedules,
Yeah.
they feel more comfortable with that. And I think that it's just lowering sometimes our expectations about what it should look like and embrace what it is.
Right.
And to talk to our kids about what they want and what
Yep.
they don't want. And that could even change year to year.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
So what do you think that we as moms need most at the holidays? What do you think maybe we should think about giving, what we need and maybe what we need to let go of?
Okay, I need a cleaning lady. If there's anyone out there who knows a good one.
I'd like that too.
I feel that way. But I think most of all, I have always strived for like somebody to go, wow, this was great. But I've lessened that up over the years. I don't need that gratification so much for making the house what it is. I feel like that's kind of like what I like to do. So I don't need anybody to tell me how great it is because I enjoy it. Now, at some point when I don't enjoy that, I may not do it. And then we'll see what happens. Maybe that's when traditions get taken over by your kids. Like this year, I'm even toying with putting my tree up in the basement because nobody's really going to be around. I have one in my living room upstairs, but we usually do Christmas downstairs. And if we're not going to be celebrating for Christmas and doing it after, I may not even put that tree up. So I'm kind of toying with that now, but I do enjoy it still. So if I can at least have one helper, I might do it.
Maybe I'll come over. No,
Yeah.
I think it's really wise to just be aware of what you like and don't like, because if you're doing it for the applause or you're doing it for the recognition and you don't get it, then you're disappointed.
Absolutely.
If you're doing it to do it, then if people appreciate it or verbally appreciate it, great. If they
Right.
don't, you enjoyed it. And I realized too, like as the seasons change, literally, like I loved all the baking, decorating, wrapping, all the Christmas stuff when the kids were younger. I liked it because they were home with me, because we were doing it together.
Right.
The last couple of years, I was trying to like bake the whole list of cookies that I usually make, and I'm like, I'm getting grumpy.
It's no fun
I don't like
alone,
this.
is it?
No.
It's no fun when you're just doing it.
So I said, you know
without
what?
Yeah.
And then after Christmas, I was throwing all these cookies out.
Yeah.
So this year and last year, I'm baking maybe three or four cookies. The rest, I went to Aldi's and picked up some nice chocolates, chocolate covered Pringles, and I'm gonna have all the cookies out, but I'm not baking them because I don't enjoy it anymore.
Right.
And I remember I actually told a friend of mine, and she was like, "Oh, you don't enjoy baking?" Like it was some kind of cardinals. And I said, "No, I don't, and I'm not doing it." And then she said, "Are you allowed to do that?" And I said, "Yes, you're allowed to do that."
And baking takes time.
Yes.
Right?
And
I
it's
mean, it
okay
takes
not to do
time,
things.
And it's something that we value. I think as we get older, we value our time more.
We do value. And I think we have to realize we are grown women and
Yep.
we get to choose how we spend our time. And if we don't love the baking, we don't need to bake. If we
Yep.
don't love doing all the elaborate wrapping, we don't have
We
to
don't
do
have
it.
to. Yep.
We don't have to do all those things. If we want to do them, great.
It's about letting go.
It is.
That's part of it. Letting go of things that we no longer enjoy.
Serve us. Yeah.
Right.
Or enjoy. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's okay. And sometimes we started doing things because it's what our mom did or our grandma did, or we were just told that's how things should be. But it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
Giving ourselves permission to let go loudly and be okay with not doing all the things.
Yep. I agree. I totally agree. Yep.
So let me ask you this. What is a moment that you realized that you needed to soften your expectations, and maybe how saying it out loud helped?
I think I pray a lot more than I did.
Yeah.
I pray a lot. And I think that that's kind of sometimes letting go loudly and actually hearing myself verbally pray helps me let go of things and expectations. And I think that that's one of the ways that I can let go loudly without being cynical or negative. I'm putting it up to God, and I'm just telling it how it is.
I love that. You're
And I
being
think that-
vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honest with him. And, I'd agree too. Sometimes I have to tell myself, I celebrate Christmas because I celebrate the birth of our Savior. And would it and is it wonderful if we're all together? But Jesus was born and died for us regardless of who is sitting around my table.
Absolutely.
And praying. And I actually have a couple playlists on my phone that I made. One's for when I might be like upset about something. One's when I'm feeling a little sad. And sometimes I'll just put my earbuds in, or if no one's home, I'll put the music, and I just like to put on some worship music and just kind of dance it out too. Like if you're looking in my windows, you might be like, what is she doing? But that's kind of my way of letting go loudly, is like acknowledging what I wish was different, because it's okay to want things that aren't happening,
Right.
but then to be okay with where they are and to
What it is.
embrace what you do have and not focus on what you don't have. Because so much of it is about our mindset.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. And that's hard for people to do. It's hard for women to do that, to say, I'm okay with this. I know this isn't where I want to be. I have some women in my life that are single and wanting something maybe more than that, but okay with where they're at, okay with being single, and okay with being with themselves. And I think that's a huge thing, is we have to be okay with ourselves and being okay with what's happening in the moment.
No, absolutely. And I think being okay with yourself, whether you are single or married, because I know I have a lot of clients too that expect their spouse to kind of fill them up,
Fill the voids and things. Yeah.
and you should feel good around your spouse like that, but it's not your husband's job to make you feel worthy.
And isn't it easy for us to do that? To
Yes.
point the finger? We're never at fault, but everyone else around us isn't doing their jobs.
Yes. And
I feel like that's so easy to do.
it is for all of us.
Yeah.
And I think
do it a lot.
sometimes, instead of having Jesus on the pedestal,
Right.
we put our spouse up there, or we put our kids up there.
Yep.
And one thing I hear a lot, I think we both hear this from clients, especially this time of year, is like, is it okay? Like my friend that said, is it okay not to bake? Like, won't people think I'm a bad mom if I'm okay with my kids not coming home?
Right.
And I'm like, no, you can be
It's-
a great mom and love your kids
Absolutely.
and hold space for the season that you're in,
And not do all the things.
and not do all the things,
Yeah.
and not compare or worry about how other people might view you.
Exactly.
There's this duality that I think we've gotten away from, that you can be a great mom, you can love your kids, and they cannot come home for Christmas, and
Yep.
things can look different.
Mhm.
And like what we're saying too is letting go loudly. It's not complaining. It's acknowledging the shift in the seasons. It's choosing gratitude over griping or complaining.
Yep.
It's giving your kids the gift of freedom while keeping the door open for connection. And it's really modeling emotional maturity and adaptability. It may not look the way you want it to, but that's okay.
Yep. I agree. It's okay to be who you are and feel the feels that you're feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My daughter told me, I was talking to her about something, and I'm a big proponent of not as your kids get older, you become more like a mentor and a coach and a friend. But I also don't think you should put your problems on your kids. So, and then maybe that's in a whole nother episode. But I remember talking to her, and I'm like, I'm not really sure what advice to give you. And I was talking to her about something that had happened to me. And she's like, Mom, you know what? I realized you've never parented adults before either. You're new at this. And I was like,
And you had never told her that?
No. Well, she's had a coach for a mom for a really long time. So she's
That's
actually
great.
And she's the person that her friends come to for advice. But I'm like, oh my gosh, here's my, almost 20-year-old daughter giving me the
Consoling you.
advice I needed. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. I'm always going to give you the best advice I know in the moment. Is it
Right.
always going to be right? But if I figure out it was wrong, I'll apologize. I'll come back. But, that's the thing. We have to give ourselves permission. Do the best you can with what you have.
Mhm.
And I always say one day better.
I like
One day
that
better.
advice. Yeah, that's great advice. As we bring this conversation to an end, remember in this season of life with grown kids, shifting rhythms and holidays that look different every year. 1, your kids coming home isn't about the schedule. It's about the space you hold for them and plan with flexibility. Number 2, pick 1 or 2 things that you want to do. Maybe not a full day schedule, maybe just a couple hours, maybe go to a movie, have a couple things planned, communicate that schedule with them prior to the holidays, and then stay flexible with the rest of it and release the old version. Maybe you went to 5 days of Christmas somewhere. Maybe you shopped, and this doesn't have to fit every year. So release that old version of your holidays. Let go loudly. The third thing, we want to let go loudly with honesty, softness, and a whole lot of love, and watch how much more joy finds its way to you.
And there you have it. The first episode of Letting Go Loudly is in the books. I hope you're walking away feeling heard, encouraged, and more empowered to live out your version of letting go. Remember, life can be hard and beautiful at the same time. Choose what you're ready to release and make room for the good that's already there. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe, like, share with a friend, and leave a review. It really does help us grow. And you can find us on Instagram at Letting Go Loudly, where you can connect with other women who are letting go loudly and share how you're navigating the holidays with adult kids. We'll see you next time, my friend. Continue to let it go loudly.
Bye-bye.
Bye.